Is here. Let's turn this down. Hello, hello. How are you guys? It's been a while since I've been up here. Too long, actually. It's been about 2 weeks since the last time I've been up here, and I promised that I was going to be more consistent, so I apologize for that. But I've had a lot going on, so you know how it goes. If you're in the chat and you're in Facebook, I cannot see who you are. So it'll just say Facebook user. So if you want me to know who you are, put your name next to your comment, or you can give StreamYard permission to see your name, and then I'll know exactly who I'm speaking to. So good evening. Tanisha Levon, Evolve University, and this is Love Therapies. I had took to the Divine Feminine group and I asked for some topics that you guys wanted me to possibly talk about. So as I was going through a lot of the inboxes that people wrote, one of them ended up being a question. And so I'm going to read to you guys that question, and then I am going to just expound upon the question. There was a lot missing from it, so I had to kind of piece it together a little bit. There was so many variables that it is hard to answer a question in that way. So I just am going to share with you guys that letter. I was going to attach the letter to and screen share it, but because I'm on a different computer, because my other one was acting up, I almost didn't get up here, guys, because both my computers were acting crazy. So the name of this stream, which is not going to be long tonight, by the way, is How Do I Get Him to Marry Me? So here we go. I'm going to read the question anonymously, and then I am going to attempt to speak to it, okay? So it says, "Hi, my name is blank, and I have been watching your videos for a while now. I enjoy your content and love how you expose how we are as women. I want to learn, am ready to learn, and willing to learn. I have been seeing or in a relationship with a man for almost 2 years. Things are pretty good now, but the first year was a little rocky, a situationship at best. After some time, we pulled it together and we began spending more and more time together. We enjoy each other's company and I love him. We haven't talked true commitment like titles, but we are together almost every day. We hang out. He has met my daughter, but nothing official yet." Well, let me get to the comments. Sorry. "It's been a long time coming, but I'm certainly getting impatient. I am dating with a purpose. So how do I get this man to marry me or want to marry me? I don't want to rush him, but I don't want to waste my time either. That is my fear, to waste my time with no end goal. What do I do?" Ladies, ladies, ladies. So I actually took some time to sit and think about this question because there are a lot of things that are missing from the question that are very important. I know she's not going to write in here and clear it up because it was an anonymous letter. She didn't want me to say her name. She wanted me to post it anonymously. So I put the StreamYard link inside of the comments. So at the end, if anybody wants to add in, they are more than welcome to. If they have some advice to give, okay? So first, let me start out by saying this. I think us as women, we all know this feeling too well, right? I think most women have gotten in relationships and have been in that relationship for a certain amount of time. And after some time, we're kind of all like, what's happening? What's going on here? When are we gonna move forward? It's no secret that women kind of mature faster than men. We kind of know what we want a little faster than men, and we know what we think we want faster than men. So having said that, we all know what that feeling is, right? We as women, we definitely like to date with a purpose if we're not just the type of woman that's just outside. And usually that purpose is to date and at some point marry a man, right? Some of us even want to live happily ever after. I mean, that's the thing too. No woman usually wants to date forever. There's this stigma of dating a man for such a long time. After a while, everybody starts to put that unsaid, unseen pressure on it. You go out to dinner. Oh, so you guys tied a knot yet? When you guys getting married? Exactly. When are you guys getting married? And what are you guys planning on doing? When are you going to make an honest woman out of her? So women feel that undue pressure all the time. So I think we all get it. And I know a lot of times that, which I've seen on podcasts, a lot of times that men feel like, titles are not important. And at times they are to a woman because we don't know exactly who we are or where we stand at that point. And when we don't know who we are or where we stand, it's a breeding ground for insecurity. And then that causes a whole nother issue. It's hard for a woman to give her all in an uncertain situation. It's just a fact. It's how it is. You have to work super hard at trying to give your all in a situation that has a lot of uncertainty. I do feel like 2 years in is a lot of time. However, um, it also depends on the age and the maturity of the people that we're talking about, and we don't know the age. I do believe, this is my personal belief, um, that men are not dumb. They do know if they want to get married. They know if they want marriage at all. Some men don't even want marriage at all. And they also know the type of woman that they want to be married to. So I didn't get your ages, but I will say this. If he's younger than 35, the last thing that I would do if it was me is rush that process. Simply because men before the age of 35, unless they're super duper spiritual, that's in my personal experience, just seeing, looking, evaluating, unless they're super duper spiritual and they're the type of guy that's like hard body in church and has been poured into marriage as a thought process, they're not ready to get married at 35. I don't think any man is ready to get married at 35. Usually a lot of times when they're in church, they're pressured to be married before a certain age. So you might get lucky with one of those, but I don't know. I don't think so. Most men before the age of 35 are still in play mode. Did you guys see that post that I put up? And it was a tweet and it said, never commit or never be with a guy while he's in his red and black leather furniture phase. You got to wait till he gets to navy and neutrals. And everybody said that was super true, because it is. When he has a red leather in his house, it's not the time. You got to wait until he gets to his neutral phase, then he'll be good. I know. It's so sad, but it's so true. It made so much sense. So many ladies was like, yeah, that's the truth. So when, before that, they're kind of like in play mode, kind of just testing the waters. You guys know I have my notes, so I want to make sure that I don't miss anything for you all today. But I know one thing about men is they like to be financially stable before they take on a wife. Because once they get a wife, children come shortly after. And it sounds like here you already have a daughter. So he'll be taking on you and a child. And God forbid, or God bless, if you... Oh, who has... I got to put this comment on the screen because... Don't say it. Are they like in the family room or like a movie room, or are they in the living room? Like, I think that counts. Like, are they like in a, like a guest area? Listen, it wasn't my post. I just shared a tweet. I didn't write it. So, I don't know, but a lot of people subscribed. That's so sad. Listen, girl, not for you. It'll be different for you. It's okay if he has red leather couches. Oh, man cave, that doesn't count. That doesn't count. No, if it's in a media room or a man cave, I don't think that counts in my opinion. Not me, but we gotta take to the woman group that. Right, that said it. That's crazy. But nah, man cave, I don't think that counts. I think he's still good with that. But the living room, I might would have been a little scared. Oh my goodness. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah, children. Children usually come shortly after, whether intentional or unintentional. You know what I mean? So they like to at least make sure that they have some form of a career, some form of financial stability before they take on the responsibility of another person. You're a whole nother person that they have to take responsibility for, and to do that lightly, it wouldn't make sense to them. Number two, my opinion, anytime you're dating a guy, seeing a guy, it's been a year, 2 years, 3 years, I don't think you should put time parameters on it necessarily. I think that you should go with how you're feeling in it outside of trauma-based responses. So let's say you're dating a guy and after a while, after a year, 2 years, it just starts to not feel right. Something's off, something doesn't feel right. It usually isn't. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean he's doing something wrong, but there is a lack of alignment somewhere that you are feeling, and it's there for a reason. We have to start using, it's like a gauge, it's like a GPS for us, and we hardly ever use it. You can get so many red flags, so many yellow flags, so many things that show up. It is very rare for a woman to marry a guy, right? And let's say the marriage goes wrong. Let's say, I don't know, he wasn't ready to get married. Let's just say he was out there and had a whole bunch of affairs. That's not new. He didn't just start doing that when you guys got married. There was some signs, there was something that showed up that told you who and what this man was before you decided to marry him. If you decide to embark after that, it's kind of on you. So, I think that you should go with the intuition of how things are feeling. That's without me having any real information here. Just kind of like, we're dating, it's been a situationship, then it's been a year or two. He met my kid, we're kind of hanging out. Like that's not really a lot of information, but just me utilizing regular variables in life. Use your intuition. Ask yourself these questions. Does he ever talk about a future together in general? Like I know, I don't know when I met my husband. I think he was like 36 or something like that. Maybe around that time. But he did used to talk futuristically. Now, not necessarily about me and him, but just futuristically about his life and his goals, which gave me the opportunity to see if I aligned with that or if I would align with that. And then even if they start to add you in the plan, sometimes like, yeah, I was thinking us or we, or that kind of gives you a little gauge or a barometer. But if every time he's around you, it's just like, what are we talking about? What are we doing? If you're just hanging out, what kind of guy is he? Does he have substance? Does he talk about visions and goals? Does he share those things with you? Better yet, does he even have any? He might not even have any visions and goals, and you're aligning yourself with nothing. So, these things are important to ask yourself. Outside of asking whether he wants to marry you, ask yourself these questions about him. That's the issue I think we have as women. We date, we like, we love, we get attached, and then we want to get married. And that's what comes next. But you have to ask yourself, why do you want to marry them? Why? If I had to go back, let's say to my younger self, right? I would ask myself that question. I got married at 19, so I would ask myself that question, in my first marriage. Why did I want to marry him? And that would have been an introspective question. It wasn't one that was right or wrong. It's just ask yourself the question. I don't think I ever asked myself that. Like, why do I want to get married outside of the fact that I feel like girls are supposed to get married? That was why I feel like I pretty much did it. Outside of the fact that this is what girls do. We grow up, we meet a guy, we like him, we sleep with him, we get a soul tie or trauma bond or whatever it is to them. Then we're like, oh, marry me. I don't know if at 19 I asked myself the right questions. I think the key is we need to stop asking that question when he's going to marry us and ask ourselves, do we want to marry him? And that would be, I think, a bigger question. Do you want to marry him? Because essentially you're going to be on his page. Essentially you're going to be in his life. Essentially you're going to be under his leadership. Essentially you're going to be doing or moving in the direction that he wants the family to do and move. So if there is nothing of substance to align with, or he hasn't given you anything that says you would want to align with it, or he hasn't shown you anything, meaning he hasn't even told you any visions, any goals, you just want to get married because you like them. But we know from past videos, past podcasts, me, other people, that love is not enough to make a relationship work. It's never going to be enough. It does not matter how much you love somebody. People grow out of love and like every single day. Love and like, love needs to be unconditional, but like is not. You don't always like your spouse. You don't always like the direction that the family is going in, especially as women. You don't always like what we have to do, but it takes more than that to make a relationship work. It takes sacrifice and compromise and a lot of things that take a lot of inner work. So you probably need to ask yourself, are you even ready to get married? Are you ready to put that level and that type of work in? Because it's not easy. You guys remember when I did that podcast, the last live video last year, where I was like, it's not easy being a wife. Then the next one I did where my husband got on that one, and it's not easy being a husband. Being in a marital union as husband and wife and in certain roles and doing certain things is not easy. It takes immense inner work, immense sacrifice, immense compromise, and putting your own vision down at times for the sake of the whole. And if you're not willing or ready to do that, if you are spoiled, if you are for the streets, if you don't know how to take accountability, if you don't know how to listen to correction, if you don't know how to be told something without getting defensive or wanting to argue, then are you even ready to get married yourself? So instead of asking, oh, when is he going to marry me? When is he going to commit to me? Are you even ready for him to commit to you? Are you ready for that type of commitment? Are you ready for that level of commitment? I don't think a lot of women are. I think we think that we are just because of the feelings that we feel in the moment. You know what I mean? Ask yourself, what vision are you going under? What goals, aspirations, and dreams are you going to, I don't want to use the word assist in getting him to, but how are you going to be a complement to his life once he gets there? So these are the questions that, you need to ask. And even after that, can you deal with what's required of that? Can you deal with where he's aspiring to be and what he may require for you or him to be that? Those are some heavy questions to ask yourself. I hope I'm not running you away from wanting to get married, but I'm just saying, if you're not married yet, think very long and hard about him and yourself before you jump into it. We just get so attached to men so early. It's baffling to me sometimes because we don't really know much. We sleep with them, and the moment we sleep with them, we feel like, oh my God, we're together now. Like, we're boyfriend and girlfriend. He's mine. I don't want him anywhere else with anybody else, enjoying anybody else. Nope. Call me, only talk to me. And we get like that early, very early. And there's nothing to really check us on it. But even more so with time spent, affection and the level of security and companionship, we fall pretty quickly. The point is, this is something that I realized is, as women, we are not supposed to be attached. When I looked up what the words meant, because women get attached very easily, but women are not the ones that are supposed to be attached. It's actually men that should be attached to the woman that he's with. And the reason why is because they are the ones that will have to lay down their life for what they consider is theirs. They have to be attached to you in order to offer that level of provision and protection that's going to be required of a husband to offer. And commit in that way in general to a woman, period. Women should be bonded to a man, which is a slight difference. An attachment is something that's attached by something. It is an extension of something else. When something's attached, it is attached at a level of extension. The woman is usually the extension of the guy. She's an extension of his territory. So the attachment is between him to her. A bond usually means that there's a mutual thing that brings you together. Meaning like, you know how you buy a glue, let's say you buy nail glue. You buy nail glue and on the back of the nail glue, it says it's compatible with these other surfaces. So if you put it on this surface and this surface, it'll stick. If you put it this surface and this surface, it won't stick. A lot of women get attached, and then when they realize that the man doesn't want them, they don't know how to unattach. So guys, like, I'm not interested anymore. I don't want to get married. It's not going to be you and I. Now she can't stop calling. Now she can't stop popping over. Now she can't stop texting. It's an attachment. It's unhealthy. We're not supposed to be attached. A woman is never supposed to be somewhere that she's not wanted. And that's just extra. That's not about like him marrying you. That's just extra. But the feminine energy is never supposed to be somewhere that it is not wanted. If it is not wanted there, it is supposed to bring its energy somewhere else, that it is wanted, that it is taken care of, that it is provided for, and that it is protected. It should never be in a space where it's not wanted, because then protection is not there, and then you'll turn masculine to provide your own protection. Thank you. I appreciate that. Girl, like, listen, I told you the lessons be for me. I just share it with y'all. You know what I mean? But I do appreciate that. Never fight for a spot in anywhere, jobs, and especially like any man's life. You only want to compete in a way that makes you the best version of yourself. And then once the best version of yourself shows up, then obviously that will put you at a top spot. That will put you at a level that other people are not. And it will honestly lessen your insecurities, because if you know that nobody is willing to put in the type of work that you're willing to put in, the level of work that you're willing to put in, then who's going to get up here? Because it takes a lot to get up here. It takes a lot of immense inner work to get up here. So it'll drop a lot of your insecurities. It'll drop a lot of the, well, what if, I don't know, because what if he meets somebody else, and then what if he likes her more than, okay, well, have fun out there, because we are all women and we all know what's going on out there. Do the work on yourself, do the work within yourself, and you'll never have to really necessarily worry about that. Not if you have a decent guy, not if you have a quality guy around you, but a lot of us are not picking those kind of guys. The ones that we are attracted to are usually the ones that are no good for us. So I'm not saying that this is your situation, but just be aware, be conscious, ask yourself the questions, and really sit down. I don't care if you got to get a notebook and a journal and be like, why do I want to marry this guy? Or why do I want him to want to marry me? A lot of us just do it in competition. We want him to marry us because we want to win over the baby mother. We want him to marry us because we just want to have a ring and tell everybody we married. We want him to marry us because, we found out he cheated and now we want to showboat and look like we won. We have a million reasons sometimes for why we want to get married, and some of them are not worth getting married for. So just ask yourself that question. Number 3, I know you're probably getting impatient, and that's a real feeling. We all know that feeling. And like I said earlier, age matters, but I don't know his age, so I'm just going to give a variable. If you're dealing with a man that's 43 through 47, and he's not even leaning toward a conversation about it, or he's still just Netflix and chilling, or he's not talking about anything of substance. If I were you, he just kind of wants to hang out sometimes. He wants to, he's not integrating you with any family. He's not bringing you around any friends. You don't know who his sister is. You don't know anything. You're just you and him. Y'all watch a movie or two together, and then you go home, or he look at you and be like, so what you about to do? And that's code for, you got to leave. If I were you, I would run, because at that age, they should have something established for themselves. At that age, they should have a vision, goal, and dream of where they're working toward and what they're moving toward. So you can tell that as a woman. You can see that. You can see how hard they work. If there's a lot of times that they don't even have enough time for you because they're working so hard, and they need you to understand that this is my life. This is what I do. So can you deal with this? Can you handle this? Is this something that you can deal with long term? Because y'all know that we as women, and I say it in every single video, we do not honor our commitments. We honor our feelings. And how we feel today is not how we're going to feel tomorrow. How I felt 5 years ago, I don't feel nothing like that today. How I felt 10 years ago, I don't feel like today. And how I felt last year, I don't feel like today. So if I made moves based on my feelings or my emotions or what's driving me in this season of my life, I would have probably been divorced a long time ago. Because if you wake up one day and you're just not happy, I literally went to go get my hair done today, and the girl happened to say, she was just like, I'm just not having a good day. I'm sorry, y'all. She ended up apologizing to everybody in the salon saying, I just came in on some stuff and I'm starting to feel a little better now, but I have to apologize to you. And she apologized to at least 3 people specifically for literally probably just not speaking to them when they came in. And we as women have that problem sometimes. We just be wild emotional, stuff be wrong. We don't take our vitamins. We don't get enough sleep. We all stressed out. And then it transmutes and then it translates into your life and to the kids. And we make decisions based on, I'm not happy today. And I haven't been happy for a week. It's been a couple weeks. It's been a couple months and I'm not happy. And now you take this man for everything he got. My last video, I said the exact same thing. Like, you wake up one day, you say, he has risked everything to be married to you. He has given you his last name. He has provided for you, protected you, given you kids, taken care of kids that you might have brought in, assisted in your career, helped you out, did whatever it was that needed to be. And one day you wake up and you're like, I'm not happy and I got to go. So, I'm taking the kids. I want this amount of money. I want half of everything that you worked for. And, oh yeah, and the kid that I came in that's not yours, you can't see them no more either. Because y'all know that that's what Eva just did to her husband. They were married for 7 years. Now, this is the weird part. This is the stuff I'm talking about. Eva Marcel literally just posted in February on Valentine's Day, I would not want to do this life or do this thing with anybody other than you. I love you to the moon and back. I have so much love, this whole long thing about her husband. And then it was this beautiful picture of him and her together. And y'all, March, she's filing for divorce, wants full custody of all the kids. Now, mind you, this man, she came into the relationship with another man's child, another man's daughter. They got together and she had this man, her husband now, adopt the daughter that she brought in. So this daughter now has her husband's last name because she went through the whole thing legally, got him to adopt her, changed her daughter's last name, and now she's divorcing him, wants full custody of kids, and doesn't want him to see even that daughter anymore. A bit extreme. And it's nothing that happened. There's no fight. There was nothing that happened. It was just literally irreconcilable differences, which literally means that I'm a woman. I can't get it together. I can't go under his leadership. I don't like it here no more and I'm out. That's what irreconcilable differences mean. So that's what she did. I think he put something out like the other day saying, whatever it takes, I'm going to win my wife back. I didn't get married to get divorced, something like that. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's noble, especially after she done put out the statement. But hey, I digress. But my point is that we do that. So before a man's going to run and take a risk with you, you have to make sure that you're showing him something to take that risk for. Because nowadays, I'm going to be honest, in 2023, it is not advantageous for a guy to marry a woman. For what? We all over the place. Why? Why would he risk his life, money, legacy, having a kid with you, doing all this stuff just so that one day you could wake up and leave? Because till death do us part doesn't matter to us anymore. We say it sounds good, it's cute at the altar, but we don't mean it. We mean until you get on our nerves long enough for us to want to leave. That's what we mean. We might as well just change the vows to that. How about this? They already changed the vows to as long as we both shall love, because they can't say as long as we both shall live, because now people are leaving before they're dead. So They changed the vows to as long as we both shall love. What else are we going to change them to at this point? And if you're going to keep changing them, what's the point of doing them? I don't know. Y'all tell me, you know. But just start discerning your situation, especially if you're with the older guy. If something doesn't feel right, it usually isn't. I just feel like God gave us this awesome gauge on the inside of us to divinely protect us from hurt and harm. I truly believe that. It's called our intuition. It is called our discernment and our ability to feel. We can feel so easily. We can feel when things are not right. We can feel when things are not right at work, when things are not right with our kids, when things are not right with our husband. It's almost like it's almost like a physical cloak that you can put on where you feel so much. We have to start to use that. You have to start to trust that gift. It was given to us for a reason. I do feel like being with a man shouldn't bring you loads of questions. If you have so many questions and a lot of insecurities, I don't think that that's right, because I think a man in your life should bring you more clarity, even if that clarity is something that you don't want to hear. I do know that when I was first seeing my husband in the beginning, there were things that he would say that I didn't like. But they were honest. And I never not really knew what was going on. He would always say, like, if he wasn't feeling me, I knew it. If there was something that I had done, I knew it, because he was more than willing to say it. But there's a lot of guys out here that are just not. They're not used to standing up to women. They're not used to telling women their truth. I don't know if it was because of growing up. That's why I try really hard to not yell in my kid's face or to demean my sons, because I just feel like that, the guys deal with that, but I don't really like to do that, because then I'm going to grow up and teach them that it is okay for a woman to yell in your face. What we're teaching is usually subconscious or unconscious, and it's not in your face. So yes, just because I'm your mother, you have to respect me, but I can do it without yelling in your face. So I try not to do that, but there are guys that grew up like that, and now that's normal to them. When women get in their face, yell in their face, mush them, they're okay with it. So, I don't know. I think that's something that there's a lot of guys out here that just don't know how to stand up to women. They don't know how to tell them their legit truth without feeling, what's the word when women go crazy and guys just, they don't want to deal with it. They just don't want to deal with that level of crazy. So they just stay away from it in general. If the guy is in his early or mid 30s, it may not be that he don't want to marry you. It just could be that he's not ready to marry you, or he's not ready to get married yet. It's a huge responsibility for a guy to take on a wife, so he's just responsible in his decision making. I'm not about to jump into nothing that I'm supposed to stay in for the rest of my life. Like I said, when men do something, they usually honor their commitment. They don't just turn away when things get bad. They don't just walk away when things get tough. They're not wired like that. They're not built like that. If they're a man worth their weight in salt, they do not run from adversity. They don't run when things get tough. They might just, disconnect, but they don't leave the entire relationship. That's a woman thing. So if I were a guy and that was my genetic makeup, I would probably be super careful about who I marry too, because it just wouldn't make sense to jump into something like that haphazardly. The last thing I'm going to say is, it could be that the man does want to get married. He just don't want to marry you. And that's unfortunate, because they usually don't tell you that. They'll entertain you. They'll keep you around, but they usually never really want to hurt your feelings and be like, I actually do want to get married. I do. I see myself getting married, but I don't feel like you in specific is my wife material. So I just don't want to take that step with you. But you're cool to hang out with, though. Most guys not going to devastate a woman like that. They're not going to just, they're not going to do that. They're not going to say that. So it could be that he could actually have an idea that he wants to get married. You ain't the one. You didn't do the work. Or he's noticed some red flags along the way that caused him to say, hey. Saw a post the other day. A guy said, a guy could have been ready to marry you or wanting to get married, and it was your attitude that turned him away. So, and sure enough, guess what happened? Hundreds of women in the comments proved him right, because all they did was went sick about that one statement that he said. The first one I saw and I said, oh my God, was, oh, men need to worry about theirs too. Oh, yep. How did I know somebody was going to say that? How did I know? It always happens. So hold on one second. I asked my husband this question earlier today, and he gave me some information that I didn't even think about, because obviously, y'all, I just have brothers and a father that I used to ask advice all the time. And then I have a husband that's kind of honest. So he tells me the truth, the real, when I ask a real question. But when he gets to talking, I don't really always know how to translate exactly what it is that I can't articulate it in the way that he can articulate it. So hold on one second. Let me see if he can get up here for probably the next 5 minutes and just give you a man's perspective on why he might not possibly be marrying you. But you keep coming. I'm going to leave for a second, and then I'll come back and say bye to y'all, okay? Not him saying what was we talking about again. Oh my goodness. Why doesn't he want to marry me? You said the age was important, remember? Ow. Yes.
Oh man.
I'm gonna move this.
Sit in front of this camera right here.
Yeah. I'm gonna move this all over.
Wow. It's a lot of lights over here.
Yeah.
All right, so now you gotta stay here because
I'll come.
You say you was going somewhere.
No.
So what was the
she said, how do I get him to marry me? They've been dating for 2 years.
Yeah.
She has a daughter. He's met the daughter.
Mm-hmm.
It was a situationship in the beginning, and now it's been a couple years, but he hasn't mentioned it. Mm-hmm. So how does she get him to marry her?
Okay, first of all, a woman can never get a man to marry her.
Right.
That's number one. It's not possible. She has to consider, I think the most important thing for her to look at his situation. Number one, how old is he? I said that already. Mm-hmm. Number two, how old is your child? Number three, how old are you? I can speak personally to myself that if a man is not financially stable or doesn't have his career or has a good foundation of where he's going in life, marriage is the last thing he's thinking about, or at least what he should be thinking about. All right. So if you're looking at this man and saying, well, we've been hanging out, chilling 2 years, why is he marrying me? Well, ask yourself, where is he? Now, is he 37, 40, where his career is going good? He has the car he wants. He's living in a place that he likes. He looks like he's in a place that he can take on you and your daughter without any of his lifestyle diminishing. That's important. Because if a man can't do that, then my opinion, I don't think he should get married. Because what's going to happen in that situation, he's going to depend on your money to provide the lifestyle that you want. And then as you know, women, your money is your money. My money is our money. Exactly. So with that being said, y'all set that up. So you can't be mad at a man that realizes that and understands that and plans for that. So if I can't provide for you and me and that child, then I can't do this. Because only thing that's going to happen is when things get rough, literally, one demotion or firing of a job or some type of recession, then the money's not right. Now we have to depend on your income. And then now the dynamics of the relationship changes, because now you become more masculine because you're not being taken care of. Now you become more masculine because you got to work extra hours. Now you become more masculine because your income is dependent upon for this household versus your bags, your pocketbooks, your hairs, your nails, and all the luxuries that you do. And that will change the dynamics of a relationship. So women, you don't think about all these things, but see, men, we think about all these things because we see the patterns of women. We see the patterns of women. If a woman is not happy, then eventually she'll go down this spiral. And most men don't have the information to be able to account for that. They don't have a game plan for when that happens. So when a woman hits that 37, 39 wall, when nothing's the same and she's not happy, she don't even know why, how do you expect us to know? So the only thing a man can do is to plan for that and know that the only thing that he can do is to put himself in a position so when that does happen, he'll have resources where he won't be the reason for that.
Mhm.
So now the other thing is, as far as how do you get a man to marry you? Well, first again, you don't. But if there were some things that you could do, these are a couple things, and this is like what I didn't say.
Mm.
So how do you make yourself an asset to a man? So the woman that's saying, I want this man to marry me, what are you physically doing to put yourself in a position for him to say, wow, out of all the women that I've dated, all the women that I know, my family members, my aunts, my cousins, whatever, every woman in his life, this one right here does this, provides this. I can see things different when I'm talking to her. Yeah, we can hang out, we can chill, but at the end of the day, how can you make him see you as an asset to make him better in his future endeavors? That's important. So when I married my wife, what drew me to her outside of everything else was her spirituality, her foundation, her spirituality. And that was important to me. Yeah, there was a lot of women that had this, they had that, but that foundation was something that I knew I needed. And I didn't see it in a lot of women. I didn't see her thought process in a lot of women. I didn't see her openness to different philosophies. She wasn't stuck in a box and had these core beliefs that were so rigid that you couldn't go anywhere with her. And she had a good attitude. Those are the things that made me decide to marry her versus all these other things that you women think that men are looking for. See what I'm saying? If this is new to you, you're hearing this for the first time, a real man that is really married saying what drew him to a woman. It wasn't how she looked. It wasn't her body, although those things are important. Don't get me wrong. You know what I'm saying? But outside of that, anybody can have those. There's a million women. That comes by like the D-bus. If you're from New Haven, you know what that is. Every 15 minutes that comes by. You know what I'm saying? But how many times are you going to see somebody that has a good understanding of spirituality and understanding her role as a woman and how it applies to being in a union with a man? That's important. And that's what drew me to my wife. So to answer the question, again, you can't. But what are you doing? What are you actively doing? Because see, the thing is women, they have an expectation for what a man's supposed to do once he's married. But if you're not already doing what you need to do as a wife, then why should he ever marry you? I'll say it again. The scripture says, when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. So that means that when he found you, you should have already been a wife. You should have already been doing the wifely things. You shouldn't say, well, I'm not doing this because he ain't marrying me. I'm not doing this until I get a commitment. No, either you're a wife or you're not. And if you're not showing that you're a wife, then why would he wife you? Crickets? No, I'm just saying, seriously, why would he wife you if you're not doing so? So just a mere question. If you got to ask, what do I have to do for this man to marry me? The answer is be a wife. Sounds simple, but be a wife. What do wives do? So then give him a picture of what being his wife would mean to him. Give him a picture. Give him an example of what living with you as in holy matrimony till death do us part, sickness and health. What does that look like for him? How does that benefit his life? Because you can obviously see how it's going to benefit your life. That's why you want him to marry you. Maybe, just maybe, he hasn't seen that. Maybe you've neglected the fact that you have to provide a visual for him to see, I can see myself doing this. All right. And that's probably the case. You haven't done that. And if you have done it, then again, going back to the other component, is he the type of guy that says, hey, I need to get these things straight so I can provide in this capacity? And if he can't do that yet, then so now if he's young, don't think about it. And if he's older and he's close to his 40s and he doesn't have his stuff together, then you should consider whether or not you want to be with this guy. Can't get right. I don't know. But I'll say this right here. And this is the last thing I'll say. If you can't take him at his worst right now, If you can't imagine being with him the way he is right now, not, oh, when we get together, we gonna upgrade, we gonna do this, and I'm gonna make him do. If you can't get with him the way he is right now, because see, guys are different than women. Guys will be satisfied being who they are because they understand their capacity. Women sometimes are delusional.
Yeah.
Sometimes sometimes you expect more than what you're capable of getting. Sometimes guys know their limitations because we interact with other guys that are realistic to each other. Girls cheer each other on for the littlest things. Guys get on each other's cases about the bullshit that they do. Period. So we know, like, yeah, I can't really compete. Not when they know there's guys like me out there. They know they just like, yeah, well, okay, I'll settle here. I'll get in where I fit in. Period. You see what I'm saying? And we have a realistic expectation of what we can have and what we can't have. But women, because of your expectations through your peers, think that this guy is going to go out and compete at the highest level against people he know he can't compete with. So he's settled in where this is my group. I got a carpentry job. I got this job. I'm a mailman. I can fit in with this right here. That's fine. But see, women want to take this guy and make him something that he's not. So I say this as the last thing again. If you can't accept him for what he is right at that moment, then you might not want to be with him. Because if you're expecting him to be more than what he is at the time that you're with him, that may not ever happen, or it may happen at a time that you've already gotten frustrated and you say, you know, this is too, because everybody's process is different. You know, everybody's process is different. And that's just it. So I mean, I don't know. Did I answer the question?
You did.
Okay, I'm out.
All right, y'all. So I said it wasn't going to be long. I didn't want to go to a full hour today. So that was it. I'm at 51 and 31 seconds. So I did good tonight. So y'all, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. I love you. If you have a question that you want to ask, put it in my inbox. I know some people don't like putting it on the comments when I say it, but it's perfectly fine. Put it in the inbox. It'll be 100% anonymous. Thank you so much for watching Evolve University, Love Therapies. I appreciate y'all. And those who catch the replay, don't forget to leave a comment. Don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget to, lead your women counterparts that would benefit from the Divine Feminine group on Facebook. Please like and share the page. All right. Love y'all. Have a good night. Bye.